which, not unsurprisingly, is one of my favorite fairy tales. Now down here, I have Lycanthrope salve. This was a rather popular means of obtaining lycanthropy back in times past. In fact, some of the most famous werewolves used this as a means of getting their transformation. This was usually done with the help of a wolf pelt, belt, girdle, or strap, or scrap of fur, such as this one. In fact, one of the more famous werewolves that used this was Michael Vergan with his associate, Pierre Berget. According to them, they quite enjoyed their time when they were wolves. Now here, I have a compass, in case you get lost while chasing werewolves through the woods. And I also have water taken from a lycanthropy-inducing stream. Now this was supposed to have many different odd qualities, including making odd sounds when it traveled over stones or hardly any sound at all. And of course it also had a strange sparkle to it. Now odds are, if you were able to work out what was causing that sparkle and distill the water, well then you could probably make lycanthropy powder out of what was left over. Now here, I have something else, an odd specimen, are bones of the Waukalek. This Russian variety of werewolf is actually quite friendly and sociable in comparison to the others. They were folks who supposedly had angered the devil, and as a punishment, he would turn them into wolves periodically. Not exactly your normal punishment, but as it goes, could be worse ways to be punished. Now in here, I have several tools. I'll get to that in a minute. One of the most interesting tools is this. It's an everyday candle. However, when a few drops of this lycanthrope repellent are dropped in, it'll keep werewolves at bay. It uses various herbs and plants that unsavory sorts tend to avoid, such as the bark of the ash tree and leaves of rowan trees. Now this is lupine cerebrum. One of the many fabled ways of obtaining lycanthropy is to eat the brain of a wolf. Here, I have soil collected from a wolf's paw print, which in theory, if you mix with water, will have the same effects as soil taken from a wolf's paw print. Now in here, I have information on aconite, since if you're going to be a werewolf, you're going to want to know what it is, and know to stay away from it. I have various other tools, including things to collect specimens in, chalk to write in, tweezers, a little fountain pen, eyedroppers, ink, the whole shebang. But those aren't all of my tools. I also have, of course, a magnifying glass, and a small little dagger. These were used in some of the more ritualized forms of obtaining lycanthropy, like those of the Bodark. Now here, I have a little journal. In fact, you might know it has an odd little symbol on it. This was taken from an Ulfhammer, a Nordic variety of werewolf, said to be well renowned for its ferocity and cunning in battle. Now inside the journal, sorry about that, you can find notes, and in fact there's even the Lycanomicon, the Luna Votum right in there. But apparently someone was researching werewolves. Now, I just said Lycanomicon a moment ago, and that would be this. It may appear to be a book, but it is in fact a little box. And inside, the mummified forefinger of a werewolf. It's not in the best of condition, as you can see, but all things considered, they're very rare, so it's, as good as you're going to get. After all, many stories say that if you cut a paw off of a werewolf, it'll simply change back to human form. In fact, most werewolves turn back to human form when they are deceased anyway. I hope you've enjoyed my little discussion about lycanthropy and werewolves, and I hope you might have learned a thing or two. We've traveled all over the world We've talked about the benandanti in Italy, the adlet in North America. We've talked about skinwalkers in Luguru and Wakalak. We've hit Germany and Russia and many other countries in our search for werewolf items. In fact, if you've enjoyed this and would like to learn more about werewolves, you might enjoy some of the books that I have read or that I have in my library. I would like to recommend The Book of Werewolves by Sabine Baringold, Witches, Werewolves, and Fairies by Claude Leteux, The Field Guide to North American Monsters by W. Hayden Blackman, De Lycanthropie, Transformation et Extase des Sorcerers by Nulab, An Encyclopedia of Vampires, Werewolves, and Other Monsters by Rosemary Guiley, The Werewolf Book by Brad Steiger, Werewolves, Witches, and Wandering Spirits by Catherine A. Edwards, Hunting the American Werewolf by Linda S. Godfrey, The Night Battles by Carlo Ginzburg, Werewolves by Bob Curran, A Lycanthropy Reader by Charlotte F. Otten, The Werewolf in Lore and Legend by Montague Summers, The Complete Book of Werewolves by Leonard Ashley, and anything else interesting you might find in your library. You have been listening to The Dark Masquerade with vocals by Destiny Beard, with acoustics by the Midnight Syndicate. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you guys have a howling good Halloween. Be safe out there. Good night.